Early voting already underway. Both candidates in the race for Wisconsin Supreme Court will be busy on the campaign trail for the final stretch with just 10 days left to go. Dane County Judge Susan Crawford, who has the backing of Democrats, met with voters today in Green Bay as part of her Common Sense Justice Tour. Crawford plans to travel to more than 2,400 miles and visit 21 counties across the state through April 1st. Besides the Green Bay stop, Crawford also met with voters in Oshkosh and Stevens Point. During that time, she told supporters that her opponent, Brad Schimel, is too extreme for the state's highest court.
Well, we need voters to understand that this is really about protecting the Wisconsin Supreme Court and making sure the Wisconsin Supreme Court is following the law and protecting the rights of Wisconsin citizens under our laws and Constitution.
Tomorrow, Crawford will focus on the southern half of the state with stops in Racine, Janesville, and Platteville. Brad Schimel is also on the road with a bus tour, and this morning that included a campaign event in Waukesha. Schimel's campaign has the backing of state Republicans. He intends to be in every corner of the state leading up to Election Day. Besides Waukesha, today's tour included stops in Marathon and Chippewa County. This follows Friday's announcement of Schimel receiving President Donald Trump's endorsement.
Adding his voice to this will help me to get my message out to voters of Wisconsin about restoring objectivity to the Wisconsin Supreme Court. And that is the plain, clear message.
Besides visiting with voters, Schimel also conducted a live stream earlier this afternoon where Republican Senator Ron Johnson and Tesla CEO and senior presidential advisor Elon Musk. Two groups linked to Musk have spent about $14.6 million combined to help Schimel's campaign. Musk says if Crawford wins, Democrats will seek to redraw the state's congressional boundaries to flip at least 2 House seats.
This Supreme Court race, has a big effect on the House of Representatives, and the House of Representatives is raised within margin. So effectively, the reason I'm bringing this to people's attention is because this really has implications for Wisconsin, but for the whole country.
For more information on the election or to learn more about your polling location, you can visit myvote.wi.gov.